Well then, people, good evening. Welcome back to the Just Joe football show. I guess it's a little bit like the final word, but not the final word, where we discuss the most recent game, the evening after the game has played, of course. But what I wanted to do is just get some fellow Leeds United content creators together this evening. A lot of people are busy, so I had to make do with these two, but I joke, of course. We have Luke with us from Ought to Know Better, and my fellow teammate, which will kill Luke, from the Yorkshire Roses, Dara from Leeds. So we're going to be talking about good points, what's going well so far, and then, of course, what we need to do this coming week, because I would argue it might be the most important week in the transfer window we've had yet. But before we do all that, let's see how people are. Luke, I'm going to come to you. Luke, to be honest, I've spoken to the lads, Jack, and that's it. I thought you disappeared for summer, mate. You've been like doing your own pre-season. I hadn't heard of you. Apart from the game, of course, you've been Sea Oasis, all that sort of jazz. So have you had a good summer?
Yes, mate. Yeah, I've just been keeping it a bit on the down low. I've avoided all social media, and they've only really needed to find out and know things that I really need to know, rather than speculating, rather than worrying, rather than getting into online spats, which I tend to do. I've had the best summer, mate. I've been to loads of gigs. Yeah. I've spent most of it drunk and looking forward to the new season. We spent loads of time with my kids as well. I should add that. I have got 2 little girls that I spend loads of time with, honestly. But yeah, no, I've really enjoyed it, mate. To be fair, I've enjoyed. It's the first season I've done it in a long time. I think probably since we've started creating content, actually, I have with the lads at Ought to Know Better, and it's been probably the best summer I've had. Just not having that worry, not having that concern, and that that little bit of anxiety about Leeds United, really.
Yeah, love this from Scoobs. He says, "Look, I've been missing the Don of Twitter beef." Luke's turned over a new leaf, hasn't he? And that's the old Luke. He's had a summer to regroup.
Yeah. New season, new me.
Yeah, exactly. And Dara, this is your first time on the show. We've had Rocco on before, not quite had the privilege of James yet, but Dara, your first time on from Leeds. That one of the best Leeds United podcasts out there, and a weekly staple of mine. How are you, mate? Fresh off our win. The trophy's in the background there as well, as you can see.
Oh, yeah, because my kiss mark is still on the side of it there, I can see. I'm good. Very much like Luke, actually. I took a good few weeks off Leeds. I stopped. I just didn't want to know anything for a few weeks, safe in the knowledge we were in the Premier League. But saying that, over the last 3 or 4 weeks now, I've ramped back up again. Transfer window's been flying. We've been doing 2 episodes a week. Right up for the last 4 or 5 weeks. We've had some good special guests. We had Isaac Johnson on from Leeds Live when he was over there in Germany. He gave us a bit of the skinny on what was going on over there, which I'm sure I'll bring up here, no doubt, particularly as we look at the next couple of weeks in terms of buying players. And then this week we had Anders Clavejo, Bielsa's interpreter, who was more than just an interpreter. Obviously, he was an analyst as well. He told us about how they got Rafinha, which again will come into this pod or this broadcast in terms of what we're going to do this week. So it's been a good summer.
Yeah, no, it has for sure. I don't know if you've had this before, but it's been in the comments quite a lot. Dara, aka Sean Longstaff, is what people are saying. Are you having that?
Well, funnily enough, I was very excited when we bought Sean Longstaff. I was live on Leeds that actually when the news came in. It was a person who was watching the pod told us that we'd signed Sean Longstaff, and I jumped up. So yeah, I'll have that. Yeah, I'll have that.
Yeah. Take it, man. Take it and run. Did you know that one of the Longstaffs was at our charity game?
Yeah, Jer said that, didn't he?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, serious. Yeah. So, Jer's, I don't know the full story, so Jer's best to tell it. But Jer's missus was sat in front of someone, and they were complimenting Jer, and then she obviously screamed at one point, "Go on, Jer!" And they were like, "Oh, do you know him?" And she had a wife, and then they got talking, and I don't know if it was his cousin, something, but they'd been to watch. Yeah, so I'll have to get Jer to give us the full details. But yeah, Longstaff getting involved, watching us, quality, or maybe they just thought they were coming to see this, son, and got mistaken with Dara, you know.
Yeah, maybe.
Good stuff. Right.
Charity game in 2 or 3 weeks. Come on, get over it, boys. You know what I mean?
Mate, final word this year. You're only one front Peacocks who's on, aren't you? So it'll be like, nah. To be honest, mate, I think Danny said after the game, he went, "You're going to be insufferable." I barely mentioned it. To be fair, if I'm being, I haven't.
Barely.
The group chat was a little unsufferable for a few days, even a week or two after. Do you know what I mean? I just had to mute it. I was in there, we're getting right stuck into it a week before the game, and then I muted it again. I've been in there since.
I love that. Maybe that's why you've gone on holiday, not from Leeds, from that game.
Yeah.
Love it. Right, let's talk some proper football then. So yesterday we had, that'll be the final game at Ellen Road, actually, before the season starts. The next time we play there, it'll be Everton. Let's talk with some positive looks. What did you make to it, man? I thought it were all right. What I've been impressed with, both against Man United and against Villarreal, and let's not forget they finished, I think, 4th in La Liga. We've been able to stop these teams relatively well, I think. I think we're going to be difficult to beat. So that's one positive I'll take. And I really like that midfield 3 that he seems to be opting to go with.
Yeah, look, really, really solid. I think we have done him in certainly the last 2 games. You know, against Scum and Villarreal, and against some good opposition as well. I think they were both really good tests for us, and at the right time as well. Obviously, we've still got Milan coming up, and I think Milan play in another friendly the day before, so I'm not sure what sort of side of Milan are going to take over to Ireland. But I think it's been really, really positive, and I think you're quite right in what you say. I think we're going to be setting up to be difficult to beat, you know, and the thing that probably slightly concerns me with that, Joe, is you've still got to be able to take your chances when you're setting up difficult to beat. But we're not creating much. We're not creating very much at all. And I know we'll come on to transfers and things in the future in a short while. But yeah, we look really compact, really well drilled against a good Villarreal side. Let's not kid ourselves. They were a good side. I think we've looked very, very positive without the ball, and we look to be very, 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 very well organised, which I think people will expect from us this season. I think that's what the majority of teams who come up into the Premier League, that's what people expect. They bring up this side that are difficult to score against. You know, you look at teams who've come up and done it relatively successfully in recent years, and they have been difficult to beat. You look at teams that haven't. You've only got to look back to last season. Your Ipswiches and things, and they've crumbled. They've been quite easy to beat. So yeah, no, I'm liking the look of it. I still do have a couple of concerns at the back, obviously back up and things like that, and where we might sort of see somebody if Max Aarons is out. Not Max Aarons. Max Aarons. I've just been watching the Bournemouth game, so I was going on about Max Aarons.
Jayden Bogle,
Jayden Bogle, yeah, they look a little bit similar, don't they? But I'm a little bit concerned. I know he's not out for too long, if all reports are to be believed, but the lack of backup does concern me. You know, I think Barham did all right, but you're not going to get a lot of minutes at that standard from Barham. No. I don't think this season. So yeah, I think we look really, really compact, good, positive, but there's a lot to improve on if we're going to be playing 38 games this season.
No, yeah, there is a lot still to improve on, and Farker alluded to that. We do, I guess, Dara, we do miss a bit of a creative spark. As good as we were in the midfield, there wasn't a lot of clear-cut chances created, and that's like Luke said. You know, we're going to be under the cosh a lot from a lot of teams in the division, and then obviously it's then. When we do have chances, we need to be able to carve up chances and take them, don't we?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, honestly, I don't pay too much heed to the performances in pre-season. I think most of the time you're just looking to get minutes and a few patterns of play. What's actually been interesting, I've found, is that we've tried to keep the ball a lot more than I thought we would. We've kind of played quite a similar style to last season, but obviously against stronger opposition and without obviously our main players on the field. So that's kind of interesting to see, because I think we all thought, and myself included, we might just sit back a little, absorb pressure, look to hit people on the counter. And that could still yet be how it ends up working out against the upper end of the Premier League. But I like the fact that we've still tried to play ball and keep possession and work it through. As I say, I'm not too concerned with regards to the attacking outputs just yet, purely because it's been a mishmash so far of players. You know, even if we look at yesterday, Jayden Bogle is one of our top attacking talents, despite the fact that he is at right back. And actually, I was just watching a video with Thierry Henry where he was saying that Ashley Cole was the most important player at Arsenal because he was a winger previously. And as soon as he beat his winger, it opened up the whole pitch because defenders and midfielders had to shift across, and it opened up space for Henry and Pires. And I think Bogle's exactly the same. Like when Bogle's on the attack and he gets past his man, it kind of disjoints the entire team, or as Marcelo would have said, you know, it unbalances the opposition. And I think until we get those players on the pitch in an attacking flow, it's very hard to judge. Although saying that, as Farkas said himself, we are a little light up front and in the attacking areas. But as I say, I don't really read too much into it from a pre-season perspective.
No, I think that's fair enough. I say that a lot, you know, even in the lead up to the game, people were, oh my God, that lineup will go down if that's the lineup and all that. And I'm just going, just relax though. It's just about different combinations, the structure that we set up. All these facts need to be thought about. That won't be the 11 that starts, you know, against Everton in 2 weeks' time. But I hear what you're saying, Dara. A lot of people do take it a little bit too serious for me. I mean, we can all remember Bielsa's pre-seasons. They were absolutely shite. And then we'd turn up on first game and be like, wow, you know, different gravy. But Luke, what have you made to the new signing? Go on, sorry. Yeah, go on.
Just really quickly, it's where I've seen people say, look, yeah, we've held 2 decent sides to draws, but they haven't been their best starting 11s and stuff. We haven't really played a settled starting 11, you know, in either of those games, have we? You know, we've tinkered and experimented with different formations and different players in there as well. So it's you know, what's good for the goose is sort of good for the gander. You can't have an argument stating that we've played 2 mishmash teams when actually our starting 11 probably nothing going to be like what it might be at Everton.
Yeah. No, I think that's fair. But just on the new signings, Luke, what have you made to the ones you've seen so far? Obviously, Longstaff, Stack, the keeper we've not had a chance to view yet. Biol we've seen a couple of times. What have you made to them?
All really positive. I don't think any of them's looked out. I tell you who surprised me the most though, Nemecha. And I think he's looked. I think he's looked really mobile. I wasn't expecting all that much from him, but he looks like he might be able to hold his own. And again, look, we're talking based on a couple of pre-season games, so don't sort of quote me 4 games into a season if he's starting up top and he hasn't got a goal or whatever. But he does look hungry. He looks very solid, very strong. But I don't think there is a new signing that's looked poor. Similar to if you look at last summer when we brought Tanaka in and Bogle and whoever else we brought in, Rothwell, wasn't it? And they all sort of slotted in, which I think has been something really, really positive. And something that you know, since Underwood and previously the team before that have been here, they've brought players in that actually they don't need that much to actually fill in and start fitting in. They've gone for a certain profile of player in terms of their attitude and their flexibility, I suppose, to bring in. So been really, really impressed with them all, to be fair. Gudmundsson actually probably has impressed me the most, although I've been probably most surprised by Nemecha.
Yeah, no, he has been impressive. Just to pivot slightly, Dara, a player that you could argue we haven't seen enough of him to say that he's a fully fledged Leeds United player. So you could argue he was sort of a new signing. Seeing him in his favoured right back position for the first time yesterday was Isaac Schmidt, and it wasn't great, was it, Dara?
No, certainly it rhymes with Schmidt. His performance was. Look, Schmidt is one of those very deceptive players who looked very good when he was with his old club. He looked decent last season when he'd come on in a forward position and he'd keep you neat and tidy and play little triangles. He was very, very good. And similarly, when I've seen him play for Switzerland, he's been very good. So I've actually been championing giving him more minutes. But based on yesterday, and as I don't put too much thought into the pre-seasons, but I think you have to bear it in mind. Based on yesterday, Harrogate Town and his few starts that he's had, which have been few and far between, he's failed to grasp any of those chances. So I'm kind of second guessing myself on Schmidt now, whereas, before yesterday, I was probably championing him and saying, let's keep him. I think he'll do a job. To going, well, actually, the proof isn't there for that. Every time he has started in the fullback position, he's actually looked quite poor. So, yeah, I think he's kind of playing himself out of contention at the moment.
Yeah, definitely so. And I think there's every case that he will leave. And obviously, Leeds need a backup fullback. Some would argue we need two, but I'm all right with Byram. I don't think he ever lets us down. So I think it'd be a case of we definitely need another, be that right back or left back. I think they seem to see Byram more as a left backup. I know he came on at the right yesterday, but it's an area of the pitch we need to improve on. But the most pressing issues at the minute, Luke, are the forward areas for Leeds United. Like you say, we didn't create an awful lot yesterday. The manager's come out and basically laid the gauntlet down to the board, and he really saying, look, we're not ready in the forward areas for the Premier League. He mentioned the fact that we lost one of our best players, Solomon, and we've still not replaced him. We want a number 9 as well to supplement Pirro and Mecha, because like you say, they both do different things. You could argue you want both of them together as one player, you know what I mean? So, and is it a 10? Is it a left winger we need? Is it, number 8 that's more creative? But it's definitely something that needs to be sorted pretty ASAP, really, because the season's not too far away now.
Absolutely agree. Yeah, I think if I was to have any concerns, it would probably be the time we've got left to get that amount of players in. I think you're quite right. We need a creative midfielder, whether that's, as you rightly say, somebody more advanced in the 8, somebody who can play out wide and create, or a 10. It doesn't look like we're going to be playing with a stereotypical 10 playmaker in our side this year. So yeah, I think we could potentially rule that out. I think if we were to bring somebody in, we might be looking at somebody who can do that job, but from either further out wide or slightly deeper. Mecha, look, as I say, look good. Pirou obviously scoring as he does. Nice little tap in, but I think you're quite right with Farker laying down that gauntlet. But I thought it was quite telling that the club actually tweeted that quote. So I think the club know that is. I don't think it's a case of Farker being upset with what's happened so far. I just think obviously we laid quite a lot of eggs into the basket of Pactau. And we have probably got other options. We probably have got other options, but deals can't be done overnight. So, it's going to be really interesting these next few weeks. I would like to see before the season starts at least three more and 3 starters potentially as well. No, sorry, 2. Certainly two starters and a backup fullback, a creative attacking type midfield, and a starting 9 to start over. Mecha and Pirou, but. Yeah, I think we're talking a lot of money there. Realistically, I know you say there you probably want a blended version of the two, Mecha and who works hard and gets up and wins a lot of ball, shields it well, and then Pirou can sort of finish. But you're probably talking Alexander Isak type money for somebody like that or that type player. Do you know what I mean?
Here's a name for you. Here's a name for you who's available from Al Hilal, Alexander Mitrovic. Would you?
Nah, not
would you? Would no?
Not
Neither of you?
No,
man. I mean, he's open to loan and permanent offers. Multiple Premier League clubs are monitoring. This is what's been put out there at the minute. Would you not? I would snap your hands off at Mitrovic. He would fit in at Leeds United. Like, it'd be perfect. I know he's a CUNT, but if he's your CUNT, it's all right. I personally would love him, but he's old or older, and he's on big wages. But
he's not that old actually. I think he's only 29, 30.
Is it?
Yeah, he's not that old, but he's been in there. He's been in Saudi for like 2 years now. That's a farmers league, and he was never that good in the Premier. Anyway, like he used to score big numbers in the Championship, and he'd go up to the Prem and get 9, and then he'd go back to the Championship and get 40, and go back to the Prem and get 7.
He's the type of team that Mitrovic is going to go to. I think is going to be where he's going to be a backup. He's going to be quite happy, sit on a bench, collect a decent wage, probably play a bit part. We need somebody who's going to be hungry, coming to start 38 games in the Premier League this season and make a real difference for me, John. I don't think he's that guy.
Yeah, Joe, I'll throw a name at you. So my brother sent me an article today. Rasmus Højlund is apparently being made available for 30 million quid. Now, there's a guy with a point to prove who could do a job.
Yeah, see, I don't mind Højlund either. Like, look, I get what people call Højlund, he shoot, blah, 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 but there's a lot of pressure on him at that football club that he's at. And they bought him for like 70 odd. If a deal was there to be done for 30 million, I don't think that's that bad. But personally, I would prefer Mitrovic though. But look, everyone's saying he's absolutely trashing stuff in the chat again. He's at Manchester United, and that club is where players go to die. And
that club, Joe, is complete poison right now. Like how many players have gone there and just died a death, and then they leave and they become good again. It's wonderful to see. We all love it. The scum are pure poison right now. As you say, it's where careers go to die. So I wouldn't judge anyone based on what they do there, because the minute you walk through that door, your stats go down by about 10% because you just become useless.
I think the concern there as well is probably his salary. I don't know what he's on. I'm guessing around about 100 grand, you know what I mean? Which is mental. And if he's going to get a move, he's probably going to get a move for arguably more money at a club who's willing to pay that and give him that opportunity. Not for me. I mean, if there was no other options and if it was certainly Mitrovic over Højlund, I'd take Højlund because I think he would. Mitrovic is going to be on probably less money. Well, maybe not in the Saudi league, but we'd probably get him a lot cheaper than. Is he free? Is Mitrovic, or is he on a loan? He's got
loan or permanent. Because they're getting Darwin Núñez, you see. So he's informed. Mitrovic was informed before the Club World Cup another striker was incoming. Hilal open to loan and permanent offers. Multiple Premier League clubs are monitoring him. So. Yeah,
I don't see. I think there'll be bigger suitors in for Højlund. Somebody maybe in Germany or.
Well, Atalanta wanted him, didn't they? Atalanta,
Italy. There will be more. He'll have probably more options than us. Which unfortunately for us, but I'm positive the club will come up with something. I'm not overly worried at the minute. No. I think if we get through this week and there's been no more activity, then that's when I might start biting my nails a bit.
Yeah. Do you think, Dara, how are you with that? Are you pretty relaxed? Because what I didn't like was Farke saying we need him in at least for next international break. And I'm looking at that thinking, well, you're three games in then, like 4 games. I know there's still a long way to go, but I want them in before Everton, man. Not. I get we might have to wait for some that might come available late on, like you mentioned, Rafinha, etc. But I want them in before. Am I being impatient? Is that unrealistic to expect that?
No, I think that's every fan's attitude towards things. Well, I'm going to go on a little monologue for a second. You have to forgive me. So, for people who haven't seen me, my background is in sports management, right? So, I've had 22 years in sports management. I have a master's degree in sports management. I lecture in sports management at University College Dublin, and I've been the CEO of a national sport and a consultant for multiple other sports in Ireland across Olympic sports and disciplines, right? So, I've sat in rooms with boards as we discuss not so much players or athletes, but often coaches. And you have your list of coaches from around the world, coaches from China, Egypt, wherever the sport might be, and you'll draw up your short list and you go get people. And like that, sometimes you have to wait till after the Olympic cycle to go and get the best coach you can possibly get for the next Olympic cycle. And that might mean you'll miss out on 5, 6, 7 months of training because they might be contracted up until Christmas of a year after the Olympics. So the reason I say this is because I think we're going to have to be patient. I don't think we're going to get one of our top 2 targets, whether a winger or a striker, in until towards the end of the season, towards the end of the window. Speaking to Isaac Johnson on the Leeds That Pod, he was basically saying that we're going to have to be patient, that they have targets in mind, but none of them that they want are available as of now, right? That's the same situation with Rafinha. With Anders on last week, who said the exact same thing. When he brought Rafinha to Orta straight away said, no, impossible. He's cost too much money. And then just inexplicably on the last day of the season, wrong, decided to make him available for 18 million, and we jumped on it. And I think that's what's going to have to be. So if you think about it from that situation, if you're spending 15, 20 million quid on a player, you got to do your due diligence. This is what I used to criticize Victor Orta about. He would just go and buy the next thing like a fan. He was just like, look, we just need to get someone. But a clever board will wait for the right someone. So yes, we might not have, I'll put it this way, let's say like Solomon level player, right? We could probably go out and get a Solomon level player who is maybe one level above Nanto. And we could have him for 38 games. Yeah. Or we wait. Yeah. And yes, those 3 games go by and we get a player who's 2 levels above, 3 levels above, like a Poishow, and we have them for 35 games. Which one would you pick?
No, I hear. I do. And I think that's where we're going to be with Muniz. I think either, in my head, it's either they're going to have to wait and bide their time to see if Fulham brings someone in. But also you mentioned, like, and we've seen in the reporting after about the Paixão deal, in that Leeds United waited around for about a month and the figures that they were wanting were far too pricey. And then as it rolled on, they were like, oh, hang on a minute, we can do this now because his wage demands came down, the asking price came down, and they seen Marseille were struggling. So because, you know, clubs at the minute are getting quoted 40 million for Muniz, maybe Leeds are like waiting about going, well, let's wait because in a few weeks' time, when they're bringing a new striker, that 40 might come down to 30 plus add-ons or whatever, you know. So I hear what you're saying, I do.
But think about it from this perspective, Joe. Say if I'm the CEO of the organization, right, which obviously I have been, and I'm doing my end of season review with the sporting director, and we've just blown 20 million quid on a guy who competes with Nanto and Ramazani, and is probably around the same level as them, and we know that that's gone one way. And we also know that 3 or 4 players, it won't be just one player, it'll be 3 or 4 players will become available in the last week of that window who are significantly better. And I'm pulling you in and we're talking about your end of season review. And I'm saying, what made you panic and buy that player that we spent 20 million quid on, who was really no better than what we had, instead of biding your time and having your connections elsewhere within the other clubs and talking to those other clubs and being aware that these other players may have become available and we could have got them and that would have helped us more. So I really do look at it from a very different perspective to just your fans' perspective. Obviously, love Leeds with all my heart, but my brain and my education around sport always tells me just make the smart move, not the emotional move.
Yeah. No, you're bang on the money. I get it. And my passion gets a little bit best of me and make like crazy statements at time. But when you do have these sort of shows, panels, you're able to sit and chat about it. It does make sense what you're saying.
And I think Joe, the club have done that, Dara. I think the club so far, they haven't been reactive. Maybe once or twice in the last 2 or 3 years, I would say, probably really reactive, you know, with the Spence sort of stuff. But we also thought Spence was going to be mustard.
It was a good one to jump on, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. But there's not really many examples. And when you consider the amount of players we've brought in, the club have got the targets pretty much spot on. We are if we are worrying, it is because we're being. I don't want to say overprivileged or anything, but maybe just a bit impatient. You know, if they do come, I did say before, I have every faith that the club will get the right targets in. I don't think we will be reactive and go for somebody just because they're available. I think if we were going to get Solomon, for instance, I think we would have already got him by now and it'd been with the squad. Do you see what I mean? And I know you're only using that as an example, Dara. But and his levels above Ramazani and Nonto, by the way. I know it was an example, but he is. let's not joke about. But yeah, I have every faith that the club are going to go get these players in, and it's almost evident that they understand what we need. And as you know, I still don't get this this narrative from the fan base that Underwood's sitting on his hands. What is he doing? Do you reckon he's having the week off sort of thing? Absolutely not. Like, be sensible before you start posting stuff like that.
Yeah. No, exactly, mate. Underwood knows as well, like Dara's mentioned. I mean, this is his job. He's got to do it well. Otherwise, the 49ers will just go, right, see you later. You know, we did see, right? Like, even with Jordan Miles came and went in the blink of an eye. I don't even know what he did. You know, he came in from Scotland, he was here, and then he weren't there. And then we found out actually he was put on gardening leave long before. So, yeah, they will, they will make decisions if needs be. But yeah, I'm like you folks. I'm confident we'll get it. I don't know. My only concern is Everton for me out of the first couple of games is the one that I look at and think it's winnable. They're not in great shape right now. It's Ellen Road. It's under the lights. It's a Monday. We can make that happen. It's the games after that I go, ooh, right, we're away at the Emirates. We get beat. You know, we've got Newcastle at home. You know, that's going to be hard, difficult. And then we Fulham away and Fulham at the Fulham that we, you know, I mean, we never do well in London, but Fulham at the Fulham we know so well, you know, under Marco Silva, they're a very, very good outfit. So that Everton game, we need to be ready to pick up points. Because my concern is if we don't win that, Dara, we could be looking at 3 games with 0 points. Yeah,
potentially, but we could also be looking at 9. Like, honestly, we don't know. The truth is we don't know. Who would have thought we'd have gone the rest of the season winning every single match after we played Luton last season? At the 1-1 draw, we were all losing our heads. Everyone was panicking. We went on to win every single game, and Sheffield United dropped off a cliff. Honestly, we don't know. If we have to go to Everton with Dan James, Willie Gnonto, and Peru up front, I can live with that. Because I think, as Luke said earlier, the recruitment team has been spot on. And then, as you've said, the midfield is looking great. I mean, Stack looked a level above yesterday. He's a serious player. I think he's going to be something else this season. You put him with any of the other 2 out of the 3 players, be it Tanaka, Ampadu, or Longstaff, you've got a serious midfield there. The defense is looking strong. Bial is getting better every single game. Joe Rodon has a point to prove.
Yeah.
We're going to be tough to beat. So I'm not writing off anyone this season. It's kind of funny when you look at it because obviously last time we were up, teams just tore through us. You know, like Man City, Arsenal, Liverpool. They scored for fun against us. Farke has obviously identified what is needed. And I think Luke, you mentioned there's a profile of player we've gone for. The other part of that profile is the age profile. Nearly everyone we're bringing in is 26. It's peak players here for now, the here and now, the immediate future, not next season, 2 seasons, increasing value, stepping stone to Barcelona. None of that crap. They're here to win games here and now. So I think we could do some damage even against mid-table, higher table teams. Maybe it's going to be a George Graham situation. Maybe we're going to grind out 2-0 all draws.
Yeah, no, you bang on the money. I do. Sorry, I was just shouting Hazard. He was just shouting me. I want to ask you actually to get your opinion on this, lads, as well. But I agree with what you just said there, Dara. Luke, I want to come to you first. And a lot of people don't agree, but
Joe's gone all quiet.
Yeah, I've lost you.
No, you're still quiet. You're still quiet.
Yeah,
you're still muted.
It's a good question, though, Joe.
Yeah, welcome to the Dara and Luke football show.
No, he's still not back.
He's still not back. Right, so we'll just talk on. So, Luke. Luke, you coming over to Dublin next week by any chance?
I'm not, mate. No, unfortunately. I'm at a wedding in Halifax for the weekend. So I did consider bringing in sick to the wedding, but when I think the lads are Leeds fans, so I think he'd have known. But no, I'm not. I'm also probably not going to get to as many games as I like to this season. I've just got bought an house, so I'm going to be a little bit on the skint side.
That's just life comes around like that, doesn't it? Joe, you back to us?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
We can,
yes.
Dude.
Oh, good stuff. I don't know what happened there. Sorry about that, lads. Yeah, so the question, enjoy Halifax, by the way, as well, Luke. I did hear that, mate. Enjoy. If you need to know the spots where to go, just ask. Ampadu, for me, was good yesterday, and I think he's going to be the mainstay in that midfield, which a lot of people will disagree with, but I think he's going to be that deep-lying midfielder with 2 either side of him. And I felt that anyway because he's his captain. Yeah, I don't know what you make to that. He played well yesterday, and I just think it's going to be him with one either side. Who that is, if it's Stack, Longstaff, if it's Stack, Tanaka, I'm not too sure. What your thoughts, Luke?
I think we're in a good position, Joe, is the honest answer to that. I think we've got plenty of quality in and around that can play. Even Gruev didn't look out of place when he came on. No. So we have got a lot of options. And if we were to bring another central midfielder, but a more attacking-minded central midfielder, I think you're probably right. I think you're probably looking at Ampadu starting the majority of the games, and then probably giving up either Longstaff or Statch at the moment. I think he sees that as his starting three, which is, I think, quite not unfair, but I think it's probably a little bit of an injustice on Tanaka given his performances last season. But I think he wants us to be a little bit more solid, and Longstaff probably gives us a little bbit more going foot backwards and forwards, which a little bit more an attacking element to his game in there. He picks the ball up on the edge of the box. There was an opportunity yesterday he could have taken a shot, but I think if we were to go for games and we potentially needed to rescue a point or go for a win, I think you're probably right. Ampadu probably still always sits in there irrespective of who we're playing. There was a moment yesterday when he turned the two Villarreal attackers and made them run into each other left and both on the deck. It's so casually, you know what I mean? I think I didn't actually think the rest of his game was that great, Joe, I'll be honest. I thought they did some good things, but I didn't think he was at his best yesterday, if I'm honest. But I still think with the captain, the C on his arm and that, I just think he just brings so much more calmness to the rest of the players around him as well. I think that goes a little bit unnoticed sometimes. Yeah. We look at last season when he came back into the side when Stroik got injured and he came back in at centre back. We just looked so much more well organised. And for me, I think that additional attribute to his game is probably what puts him in there. Not even if he's playing poorly, I still think he brings that. It's almost you can't almost buy that in a player. That those leadership qualities. So I think you're quite right. I think it'll be him with probably Statch and Longstaff for me.
Yeah, that's fair. Dara, I'm going to ask you about Longstaff because there seems to be this running notion within the comments, and I saw a few takes online that Longstaff was poor yesterday. I'm not sure I agree. I thought he was good. I don't know what people are expecting for him. Are they expecting something more? I don't know.
Yeah, it's funny because I think you and I had the same take on Longstaff in terms of, people's attitude towards it. Would he have been more well received if it was Seanio Longstaffinho? The fact that he's Sean Longstaff from Newcastle has definitely gone against him. But then when you see him on the pitch and then people are criticising him for not playing worldies, then you're kind of going, well, what's going on here? You're either with him or not. To me, 170-something appearances in the Premier League, upper end of the Premier League, I have no issues with Sean Longstaff. I think he's going to be a 7 out of 10 every single game. But the first 10 minutes, I thought he was brilliant. Not sure about you, Luke. But I noticed he was on the left wing, he was on the right wing, he was popping up everywhere. He was picking up loose balls, he was winning tackles, getting a little foot in. He got robbed at one point, and that did make him look bad. I think someone came in from behind, sliding tackle, and that didn't look great. But for the most part, I thought Longstaff looked really good. But go back to your other point though about Ampadu. I think whether it's the right decision or the wrong decision, if you think Ampadu isn't starting, you haven't been paying attention. Because Farke has made it no secret. He's his most important player. He's his club captain. And if you look at the stats from last season, when Ampadu is not there, we don't win games. So we absolutely need Ampadu. And I think Stack will prove himself to be worthy. And then it'll be a rotation maybe between Tanaka and Longstaff, which is a great position to be in. And we're going to pick up injuries, and there's going to be cup games and everything else. So having any four or any three of those four is going to be a new world for Leeds, because for years we didn't buy a centre midfielder for about seven windows at one point, and now we've got 4 forwards.
Since Klitsch, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Klitsch was the last one that we bought.
It is. It's mad. It's mad. Look, folks, I don't want to keep you too much longer, but Luke, just a quick mention of the American boy, Brendan Aronson. I thought he had a really good performance playing off the right yesterday.
Deserved, mate. Yeah, I think unless you have got something against him, whatever that is, I think you can't deny that he was was probably arguably our best player yesterday. I mean, arguably there was two or three probably that potentially could have got man of the match for us, but he was working tirelessly everywhere, doing everything that we expect and want from him. He's never gonna skin 3-4 men and put the ball in the top corner, is he? But what he does offer us is something, in the absence of Dan James yesterday, something slightly similar. And look, we know he hasn't got his pace, but he'll work hard both with the ball and without it. And he put the ball in and worked really hard to get that ball in for. I know the assist actually came off the Villarreal defender, but I thought it was really good yesterday. Pre-season friendly, take it with a pinch of salt, but I'd be happy with him as backup somewhere for us in midfield this season.
Yeah, I agree. Dara, any thoughts on Aronson's performance?
Well, as a staunch Aronson critic, I know. Be honest there. I was very happy to see him play well yesterday. I was shocked to see him play as well as he did. But look, anyone puts on a Leeds shirt gets my support straight away. I just have to be honest about Aronson that I think he's a bit brain dead sometimes as a player when he's on the ball. Obviously, his off the ball stuff is fantastic, but you think you've got to have a bit more about you. But you can't criticize him on yesterday. I mean, based purely on yesterday, he was excellent. He was beyond doubt our best player. He worked hard. He put balls into good areas. He linked up play very well. Little triangles here and there. No, if he keeps playing like that, he'll win me over.
100%. And actually, this is the final piece of the tonight. Luke, Jack Harrison, does he stay or does he go?
Let's hope he goes.
Dara, any thoughts?
I thought he was going to go when I read the reports this week. We'd be mad to let him go to Everton because whatever we want to do about getting rid of him, do not strengthen them. They are in a bad way.
Yeah, they are.
But then Farke came out and said we were missing really important players and named Dan James and Harrison.
I know, that was what I thought, yeah.
I reckon, and I've said this on the pod, I reckon Harrison is a Farke player. I think Farke's going to love him in terms of his work rate and his working back and his tracking back and his how switched on he is defensively. Whether we like it or not, I think Farke's going to trust him.
Yeah, I think off the ball especially, he'll do everything that's asked of him. And the fact that he mentioned him yesterday as someone that's missing, I think he stays, to be honest. Unless a bid comes in for him, but we'll wait and see. But listen, folks, I don't want to keep you all night. No fan wants him. I don't mind him, bro. I don't mind him. I've said this, so if he stays, he stays. I think he's getting a bit of a... I think he's being treated... No, that's wrong. Hang on. I don't want to keep... I think some of the vitriol towards him is not warranted. I think if his mum doesn't say what she said, is it as bad as what any of the others have done? Is it as bad as what Joseph's doing? Is it as bad as what Nonto did? No. So, anyway, that's just my opinion on it. Anthony Johnson says we still get a couple of big signings in us yet and the loan market open for free starters and a bit more in depth. James asked just quickly, when's No Better back, Luke?
We're talking about it this week, so probably not this Tuesday, probably the following week.
Nice. And there is the Leeds That channel. They're recording after this, not going live, but are recording. So make sure you're going over and subscribe. And there is No Better as well. That's it from me, folks. Hopefully Monday is a new day, start of a new week, and we really start to see some transfer news leaking out from sources across the globe. Thanks for watching, and see you in a bit. Bye-bye now.